A very good afternoon to all of you. Till date, we have discussed certain important definitions of plaint WS with specific reference to the Code of Civil Procedure. We have already discussed plaint WS issues replication. Now, today in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the meaning of judgment, order, and decree. As you all are aware that we are studying these definitions in the form of the steps involved for filing a civil suit in a court of law. The first step for filing a suit is the filing of the plaint. Thereafter, the second step is that the filing of the plaint is not sufficient unless and until the same is accompanied by an affidavit. Thereafter, we have to deal with the aspect of jurisdiction as well, which I had already discussed in my last lecture. Thereafter, we had discussed about the concept of summons, and thereafter we had also discussed the concept of WS, that is written statement, and replication as well. And also the issues. After issues, I had also discussed with you all that the stage of plaintiff evidence or the defendant evidence would come, and thereafter court would hear the oral or take on record the written arguments of both the parties. After listening to hearing of both the parties, the court has to come to the conclusion whether it will going to admit the claim of the plaintiff or it may dismiss the case of the plaintiff, as the case may be. So the next stage that is very, very important from the examination point of view is also that the stage of judgment, decree, and order would come. And that is the topic of today's lecture. Hope you will learn from it. Now, I would like to start with the same. The first definition I would like to take for further explanation is the definition of order. What do you mean by an order? Order means the formal expression of any decision which is not a decree. So from this, we may infer that any formal expression which is not a decree with regard to a certain decision in a civil suit or on an application is known as order. This is defined under Section 2, Clause 14 of the CPC. Now, the second essential element or the second important question which we have to deal in this is, what are the essential elements in the definition of order? So, the following are the essential elements of the definition. If these essentials are fulfilled, then we may say that the said decision of the court would be termed as an order. And these are, first of all, it relates to the matter of controversy. It is a decision given by court. And third one is, it is a formal expression of a decision. So we can have three important elements, that is, that there must be a matter of controversy. That means one fact is alleged by plaintiff and another fact is denied by defendant. That is known as controversy. So there must be a controversy and there was a decision given by court. Decision given by any person would not be termed as an order. Only the decision rendered over a controversy by a court of law may be termed as order, provided it is also a formal expression of a decision. So, we have learned about the definition of order. Now, I would like to further develop upon the another definition which is known as judgment. What do you mean by judgment? Judgment means the statement given by a judge of the grounds of a formal decree or order. So from this we may infer that the reasoning given by the judge on the basis of which he finally adjudicates between the parties, that is known as that statement, reasoning of statement is known as judgment, and it has resemblance with another law that is known as administrative law, because as you have already read about it in the administrative law, that one of the essential elements of principles of natural justice is that there must be a reasoned order. Reasoned order is nothing but a speaking order. And which order can be termed as speaking order? The order which gives the reason, which gives the reasoning, thereby to take or to draw certain inference by that particular judge or by the presiding officer of the court, that may be termed as judgment. Now the next question is, what are the essential elements of judgments? Number one, it is a concise statement of case. There must be the point for determination, and there is a decision thereon on that particular point, and the reasons for such a decision. These are the four essential elements of judgment. Now, the next important definition is decree. What do you mean by decree? It means a formal expression of an adjudication which, so far as regards the courts concerning it, conclusively determines the rights of the parties with regard to all or any of the matters in the controversy in the suit and may be either preliminary or final. So, from this, we may infer that there must be an adjudication, and such adjudication must be in a suit. It must not be in an adjudication on any application. It must be done on a suit. This is also an essential element of decree. It must have determined the rights of the parties with regard to all or any of the matters. If that particular order is determining any of the matter in the controversy, then that may be termed as preliminary decree. But if that particular order which has been passed by the court and thereby to decide all the controversy in the disputes in the suit, then that may be termed as final decree. And such a determination must be of a conclusive nature. Without conclusive nature, it may not be termed as decree. It may be inferred as an order only. And there must be a formal expression of an adjudication. So these are the essential elements of decree. Now I would like to point out certain important facts that which may, I can give you an example of which may be termed or which may be included in the definition of decree. Rejection of plaint by the court under Order 7 Rule 11 CPC. This may be termed as, and the order which has been passed by the court, that may be termed as decree, even though it is an order on an application, because it has finally adjudicated the rights of the parties. Therefore, the rejection has been come under the definition. Has come under the definition of decree and not application. And second is determination of any question within section 144. Section 144 of the CPC deals with the provision of restitution. I can give you an example of restitution. Suppose A wants to sue B for 10,000 rupees. Mr. B denies him. He thereafter files a case in the court of law, and court has directed Mr. B to pay him 10,000 rupees. And in the meantime, Mr. B has also filed an application before the court of law. But in the meantime, Mr. A has already filed an application for execution of decree in the court of law. Before the decision of an appeal, the executing court directed Mr. B to pay the amount because there was no stay in favor of Mr. B from the appellate court. As such, Mr. B was constrained to give money to Mr. A, thereby to satisfy the decree. But the question arises, but in the meantime, that appeal has also been decided, and that appeal was decided in favor of Mr. B, whereby court concluded that Mr. B is not liable to make payment of rupees 10,000 to Mr. A. Now the question is, he has already made the payment, but the appellate court orders came late. Now what is the remedy? The remedy is the doctrine of restitution. What is doctrine of restitution? Doctrine of restitution provides that Mr. A would be directed by the executing court or by the lower court itself, thereby to make the good the loss to Mr. B. That means Mr. A would be directed to make 10,000 rupees again to Mr. B, so that he would not suffer any harm on the act of the, because of the act of the court. So that is restitution. And that order which has been passed on the application, that may be come under, because it finally adjudicates the matter. That is why this has also been included in the definition of decree. But it shall not include any order for dismissal of default and any adjudication from which an appeal lies as an appeal from an order. So it will not include dismissal of default and appeal from which an appeal lies as an order. Now the next point. What are the what is the test to determine whether it is a case of decree or not? The test has been laid down in the case of Venkata Reddy versus Pethi Reddy, EIR 1963, Supreme Court 992, wherein the Supreme Court has held that whether or not an order of the court is a decree or not, the court should take into the account the pleadings of the parties. What are the pleadings? What do you mean by pleading? Plaint or written statement, and the proceedings leading up to the passing of an order. So these two considerations have to be taken into mind, have to be taken care of by the court while concluding whether it's a decree or an order. Which orders can be termed as decree? The number one example is order of abatement of suit, dismissal of appeal as time barred, dismissal of suit or appeal for want of evidence, rejection of plaint for non-payment of court fees, and modification of scheme under section 92 CPC. These are the examples of the order which can be termed as decree. Orders which are not decrees. The examples are appointment of commissioner to take accounts, dismissal of appeal for default, order of remand, order granting interim relief, refusing to wind up the company. Now the next question is, how many types of decrees are there? As per law, there are three types of decrees. Number one, preliminary decree. Number two, final decree. And number three, partly preliminary and partly final decree. What do you mean by preliminary decree? Preliminary decree means when an adjudication decides the rights of the parties with regard to all or any of the matters in the controversy in the suit, but does not completely dispose of the suit. It is a preliminary decree. As I have already apprised you, if the matter is decided or is deciding, if the case is deciding only one particular issue in the matter, then that would be a case of preliminary issue. But if it would comprises or decides all the issues involved in the suit, then it would be termed as final decree. Now I would like to come further. Preliminary decree is only a stage in working out the rights of the parties which are to be finally adjudicated by a final decree. That means the preliminary, after the passing of the preliminary decree, the final decree to be passed. So, in following cases, the code provides for passing of a preliminary decree in the following suits, and the examples of the same are suit for possession and mesne profits, suit for preemption, suit for dissolution of partnership, suits for accounts between principal and agent. Now, the question is whether the above list, which I have given aforementioned, is exhaustive. Answer is no. The above list is not exhaustive and the court may pass a preliminary decree in cases not expressly provided in the code. Now, the next question which would come in the mind of a law student is, what would be the effect on appeal against preliminary decree? So, Section 97 CPC provides where any party aggrieved by any preliminary decree does not appeal from such a decree, he shall be precluded from disputing its correctness in any appeal which may be preferred from the final decree. So, meaning thereby, the preliminary decree has to be challenged within the time limit mentioned under the Limitation Act, and the judgment debtor would not wait till the final decree is passed, and thereby he cannot club preliminary decree and final decree. But there is an exception to it, and that exception is if the period of limitation for preliminary decree has not been expired and the final decree has also been passed, then the both can also be filed within the remaining period. And the remaining period would be calculated not from the date of the final decree, but from the date of the preliminary decree. That is the law of the land with regard to Section 97 CPC. Next point. What do you mean by final decree? A decree may be said to be final in two ways. When within the prescribed period, no appeal is filed against the decree, or the matter has been decided by the decree of the highest court. Second, when the decree so far as regards the court passing it completely dispose of the suit. So first one is when no appeal has been filed within the prescribed period, or if the appeal has been filed, then the same has also been decided, then it would be termed as final decree. Second is when the court which has passed it completely disposes of the suit. So these are the two conditions by which we can say that that this particular decree is a final decree or not. Example, in a suit for recovery of money, if the amount found due to the decree holder is declared and the manner in which the amount is to be paid has also been laid down, the decree may be termed as final decree. Next question. What do you mean by partly preliminary and partly final? A decree may be partly preliminary and partly final. Example, in a suit for possession of immovable property with mean profit, where the court decrees the possession of the property first, and secondly, direct an inquiry into the mean profit. So this is an example of partly preliminary and partly final. Next is, what do you mean by deemed decree? Deemed decree, it is generally used to create a statutory fiction for the purpose of extending the meaning which it does not expressly cover, meaning there by way of legal fiction. Certain orders and determination are deemed to be decree under the code. Restitution. Restitution means determination of any question within the meaning of section 144 is expressly included in the definition of decree, though such determination is neither made in a suit nor is it drawn for the purpose of giving the right to appeal. That is why it has been included within the definition of deemed decree. Now the question is, what is the difference between decree and order? A decree can only be passed in a suit which commenced by way of presentation of plaint, whereas it is not necessary in case of the order. Second difference is, Decree is an adjudication conclusively determines the rights of the parties with regard to all or any of the matter in the controversy. An order, on the other hand, may or may not finally determine the rights of the parties. A decree may be preliminary, final, partly preliminary, or partly final, but there cannot be any preliminary order. Every decree is appealable unless otherwise provided, but every order is not appealable. Only those orders are appealable which are specified in the code, and these are given under section 104 and order 43 respectively. A second appeal lies to the High Court on certain grounds from the decree passed in the first appeal, while no second appeal lies in the case of appealable order. So these are the differences between decree and order, and also relevant from the examination point of view. Next question is, what is the difference between judgment and decree? Judgment means the statement given by the judge on the grounds of decree or order, whereas it is not so in the case of decree. A judgment contemplates a stage prior to the passing of decree or an order, and after the pronouncement of decree, after the pronouncement of the judgment, a decree shall follow. So after the pronouncement of the judgment, decree shall follow. Now the next concept is, what do you mean by once the decree or judgment or the order has been passed? Next question is how to execute, and what do you mean by execution? Therefore, I have explained it here, and that is the last point which I am going to deal over here today is execution. What do you mean by an execution? Execution means the process of enforcing or giving effect to the judgment, decree or order of a court. It is the process by which we can enforce or by giving effect to the judgment, decree or order of the court. Now, what is the new topic which we are going to deal in my subsequent series of lecture? In my subsequent lecture, I would like to throw some light on the concept of foreign court, foreign judgment, res sub judice, and res judicata. Very, very important, again from the examination point of view. And also, if you would like to become a judge, or if you want to become a good lawyer, these are very essential concepts which one should know. Hope you have learned a lot from this lecture. If you have any query, then you may contact at my email ID, that is rahularora.gn@jagannath.org. Hope you have a good day ahead. And thank you very much. We'll meet you soon. Thanks a lot.